you get like everything's kind of relaxed, you know. And lithium and belladonna were sometimes mixed together, and lithium would make you like, yeah. And what else did they use? They used arsenic for heavy metals, antimony, which is silver nitrate, for example. They used to put silver nitrate. In fact, your textbook author has like 5 questions on this. When the baby comes through the birth canal and is born, he could get microbes in his eyes, because his eyes are going to open for maybe the first time. Any bacteria that's in the birth canal is going to be picked up by the baby. If you have gonorrhea, if you have chlamydia, it can get the baby's eye. So they would put a little drop of silver nitrate in the baby's eyes. That shit must burn like hell. So I have to tell you, this is too much information, but I had a rip in my what would you call it? Rectal tears. I had rectal tears. I went through a medical issue. My thyroid had stopped working. I was almost in a coma. You go into a certain kind of a coma if your thyroid doesn't work. What's it called? Myxedema coma, that's right. And I was myxedema. My whole face was swollen. My face was so swollen, my tear ducts were swollen shut. So my eyes were running all the time. And meanwhile, I'm getting up and going to work every day. I have no idea that my thyroid has completely stopped working. And so anyway, somehow my doctor rescued me and saved my freaking life. But in the meantime, I was so constipated because it's so weird. Your thyroid doesn't work. I got carpal tunnel. I'm crying all the time, and I couldn't shit for nobody's business. There was no way. I don't know what happens, but your thyroid controls so much more than you would think. Also, it affects your memory, and I have major memory issues, you might have noticed, and also your mentality. You become apathetic. So you're like, you're dying, and you don't care. It's really weird. So anyway, by the time I got over the whole thing and started taking the medicine for a while, and I come to work one day and I'm like, okay, everybody just continue what you're doing. Teacher's got to take a break. I had to go so freaking bad. Oh my God, I hadn't gone for like 3 weeks. And when I did, it tore my rectum. So I had to go get my asshole stitched. And I popped the stitches. Oh! And I almost bled to death. So when I get to the doctor's office, after I soaked through 10 washcloths of blood, the doctor's like, why didn't you go to the emergency room? I was like, really? Should I have done that? I guess I'm still in the I don't care stage. He's like, yeah, hello. And he's like, and at this point, I can't stitch it. We're going to have to cauterize it. Oh. Well, when I got it stitched the first time, he gave me a needle of like local anesthesia, and the needle hurt like a son of a bitch. If you think, you know, areas on your body are tender, try going inside your asshole. It's really sensitive. I'm not used to having anything in there. Outdoor, not an indoor. You know what the general surgeon's table is like? It's inverted. It's like this. You lay down on the table, your ass is right up there. So humiliating. And then he goes in there with silver nitrate and puts it on my asshole on the inside, and I let out such a scream. Probably every patient in the building went running out in terror. And then after the whole thing, it's like, I gotta tell you, I thank that surgeon so much. I can't even remember his name now. He was great. I'm like, really? Is this what you went to medical school? But thank God he did, because, I mean, you really got to trust somebody to let them do that to you. But silver nitrate, it hurts, and they use it for cauterizing. But I can't imagine putting it in the baby's eyes.
Just forward antibiotic.
Oh my God. This is how, and I found my little kitten, that's how I popped my stitches. So it was 3 summers ago, I think, because Ollie just turned 3 this June. So 3 summers ago, at summer school, it's like one of the first days of summer school, and I want to show the Parasites movie, right? So I want to go to Walmart and get Tootsie Pops for the movie. And usually I come to work, I cut through Longwood Run. Is that it? Or
Yeah.
back that way. But because I wanted to stop at Walmart, I went a different way. And I'm driving down University Parkway coming to school with my Tootsie Pops and my asshole freshly stitched, mind you. And I see this little kitten on the street. And he climbs over to the side of the street and he's trying to get up the curb. And he can't because the curb is 3 times higher than he is. He's little. And I at first I'm like, what the hell is that? And I'm looking through my windshield and I'm like, holy crap, I think that's a kitten. And I think the kitten's trying to get off the road so he doesn't get killed. And there was so much traffic and trucks coming up behind, I couldn't even pull over. And then there was the curb. I couldn't get up the curb anyway. So I drove to the Tabernacle, pulled in the driveway, stopped my car, grabbed the towel, and I start walking down the road because I knew I saw him where the curb was. So I figured I'll walk the whole length of the curb until the end of the curb. He's got to be there, and he wasn't. And when I got out of my car, I started running also because I didn't want to waste any time. And I thought I felt something funny. And I kept going, and so I get to the end of the curb, no kitten on the curb. So I don't know why I said it out loud, but I go, where are you? And he goes, meow.
Aww.
I don't know how he did it, but he somehow got up the curb, went across the grass. There was a freaking ditch because it had rained. It was like a flood. I had to roll up my pants, take off my new Birkenstocks, and wade across a ravine. You know, the side of the University Park has a big ravines to collect. Go across that. He was on a hump of grass on the other side of the
How did you
puddle.
get that?
That's what I said. How the hell did he get there? I have no freaking idea how he got there. But so I put the towel over him because they'll freak out. So I put the towel over him to pick him up. He wouldn't stay in that towel. He wanted out of that towel. He climbed up on my shoulder. And then he's all banged up, smashed, his eyes hanging out, he's all bloody and everything. But he's fighting for his life, man, because somehow he got across that thing of water and climbed up on my shoulder. So, okay, kid. So I get in the car. I drove to the University Animal Clinic because he was my vet at the time. And I take the kid in there. And I'm like, oh my God, found this little kid on University Parkway. And he's in really bad shape. Can you just put him out of his misery? Humanely euthanize him. And they're like, well, we can't do that until we examine them. And I'm like, okay. And we can't take him from you without a credit card. I'm like, really? I'm just trying to be a good Samaritan. It's not my cat. I just found it on the highway. And I didn't really want a cat. I just, I don't want him to suffer. And I just couldn't leave him there. They're like, well, we can't take him from you unless you give us a credit card.
That's nice.
$600 later.
And he's yours. And now he's yours.
And he loves me. He's the sweetest kitty. Oh my God, he's so freaking cute. He loves me to pieces.
Aw, that's cute.
But I popped my stitches partially, and then when I tried to go, I popped them the rest of the way.
Oh.
That was terrible. Anyway, too much information. They say getting old's not for sissies.
No.
Now you know why. All right, how do we get to carp? Okay, so heavy metals or halogens, they work as poisons. They're going to go in, damage bacterial enzymes, probably kill the bacteria. So these are more bactericidal antimicrobial agents. But the problem is, they could harm our enzymes also because it's a toxic chemical. So they're toxic to those. They're not good magic bullets. And since they kill the bacteria, they can't develop resistance. Right? Go in there, harm those enzymes so bad the bacteria die, they're not going to be able to evolve. They're dead. So they can't develop resistance.
So pretty much when we've made all of the bacteria as antibiotic resistant as possible, we're going to go back to Roman times and use heavy metal.
So we're just going to you're absolutely right. Going to have to go back to the old-fashioned remedies if we don't figure something out. They are searching for new antibiotics in soil, and in particular, they've asked us to check the beaches because that's a different kind of soil, and they're hoping maybe we'll find some novel bacteria there that produce some new antibiotics. The other way to go is they're trying to make viruses that attack bacteria. And then they'll actually give you a virus that attacks bacteria cells, but not human cells. That's another way to go. And they've got a couple other things, I guess, in book that they're looking at. Okay, so we talked about enzymes, we talked about competitive and non-competitive enzyme inhibitors. Enzymes are important to metabolism, but if we interfere with enzymes with competitive and non-competitive enzyme inhibitors, we can hurt bacteria. But now we're back to catabolism. Whoopsie. So, where did I go? Whoop, dead, whoop, okay. And many organisms use carbohydrates, use carbon sources. That's why you had that other slide in your lab PowerPoints for the unknowns, and all the different organisms use carbon. We're carbon-based life forms. That's all we need to live. Glucose metabolism, we already talked about. Cellular respiration and fermentation. Okay. I think I'm going to magnify this. I like to use the straight chain formulas. What happens when you break a bond? When you break a bond, electrons that held that bond together are liberated. And this part of the molecule is going to have to reorganize itself, and this part of the molecule is going to have to reorganize itself. And when it does, guess what comes off? Hydrogens. And the hydrogens follow the electrons, because electrons are negatively charged and hydrogens are positively charged. So when you break a bond in your glucose, you're going to break one of these, the bonds between the carbons. The first bond you break is the one